welcome to my channel. You're watching KNV Monsters. In today's video we're going to be going over another Yellow Thunder tournament team composition. And today's selection is going to be Shaakamon along with Tiger Vespamon. There is a bit of a restriction on the Shaakamon because Shaka is kind of really strong in this format. There is a rule that you can only use a Digimon partner with 6,000 BP or less, and so I decided to go with the Tiger Vespamon. And the stats are as follows. The Shaakamon is going to be boasting a BP of 6,700, HP at 6,150, and AP at 2,100. And the Tiger Vespamon will have BP at 6,000, HP at 5,700, and AP at 1,900. And the abilities that I decided to use for the Shaakamon, obviously I'm going to be going with the UR Wonder ability. That gives the Shaakamon plus 30% BP if its defense game is excellent. And for the Tiger Vespamon, I was considering using the ER Double Guard, but I just felt like it was a little bit too risky, especially because Tiger Vespamon, as it is, will go down fairly quickly with its stats that it has 6,000 BP and 5,700 HP, which is not too much. So I decided to go with the SR Defender ability that gives Tiger Vespamon 10% BP, and that 10% will be active in the back as well since it is a constant. So let's get right into the first battle. My opponent is going to be bringing in Magnamon along with Apollomon, and Magnamon is going to be using the UR ability Sap Life that subtracts 20% HP from my monsters. And the stats for Magnamon are as follows: BP 6,300, HP 4,700, AP 2,000. And for the Apollomon, my opponent is going to be rocking the SSR ability, which is another Sap Life ability, minus 50% HP to my monsters. So a total of 35% HP is going to be subtracted to my monsters. It's not going to be too fun for me. And the stats for Apollomon are as follows: BP 5,800, HP 6,000, AP 2,100. I ended up going second in this matchup here, and I decided to block with the Tiger Vespamon in the back, which was kind of not a good idea because of the HP subtraction. That Tiger Vespamon is going to be hit very hard. So my idea here is to kind of just keep Shaakamon alive as long as possible to keep it healthy. Block with Tiger Vespamon in the back as well. I was kind of depending on the 10% BP to kind of give it an edge when blocking in the back, but that wasn't really working because of the HP subtraction coming from my opponent's side. And I decided to block with Shaakamon here because I kind of knew my opponent was going to be using a regular attack on this next turn. And then I also decided to W attack right after that, and my opponent called it pretty well, blocked with Apollomon in the back. If that W hit Magnamon most likely would have died with the 4,700 HP. And my opponent decided to W attack on the next turn here. For some reason in my mind, I did not block in the back with Tiger Vespamon. Now, if I did block in the back with Tiger Vespamon, this match would have been Shaakamon's all day long. The added BP, obviously, with the defense game, and you know, if I just hit a good amount of bubbles on the attack game, I could have easily taken down Magnamon as well as the Apollomon. But as you could tell, the Shaakamon has low health. I've got about like 2 or 3 more hits left on the Shaakamon here. There's no way I'm going to be able to finish this battle, so GG's to my opponent. They definitely called that correctly. I made a mistake, and that's what lost me the game here. There's really no way for me to come back from this. And Apollomon was able to take out my Shaakamon. So I lost the first battle here. It's definitely a good first round. So my opponent is going to be bringing in the Kazuchimon from the 25th anniversary BEM with the SSR ability that raises its own BP by 20%. This is a constant, so it will always have the 20%. And the stats are as follows: BP 6,500, HP 5,000, AP 1,950. And they're also going to be bringing in Canondramon with the R ability, Friend, that raises the ally character's HP by 10% at the start of the battle if the ally character has a different attribute. So essentially their Kazuchimon is going to be the tank for this battle. And the stats for Canondramon are as follows: BP 6500, HP 5700, AP 1800. I decided to lead with the Tiger Vespamon here. So not only am I getting a type disadvantage on the attack, but Kazuchimon also has a 10% HP increase, as well as the 20% BP increase, which makes it pretty hard to take down. So I decided to W attack here. I wasn't sure if my opponent was going to block in the front or the back, but basically my plan was to just get the W attack damage out and then sacrifice Tiger Vespamon to their W attack, which I was able to call here. And I didn't want the W on my Shakamon in the back. I was kind of depending on my Shakamon to come on out and then finish the game. Hopefully with its high BP I would be able to fend off any attacks coming in and just deal as much damage as I possibly can to take down the opponent. So Canondramon comes out, and I am at a type disadvantage. Also, Canondramon is going to be attacking first, on top of the chip damage that Kazuchimon already dealt to Shakamon. So what I need to do for these next couple of rounds is hit perfect blocks and hit a high amount of bubbles as often as possible in order for me to take this game. And so as of right now, this is a race to the finish. It's basically an endurance race. To be fair, because the Canondramon is at a type advantage, this Canondramon is turning out to be a tank to my attacks. I'm not doing as much damage as I would like to. Luckily though, the damage that's coming in is being mitigated by the BP increase, and so I'm able to keep up, but just slightly. We're pretty evenly matched right now. I kind of wish I could always hit 40 on the bubbles. I don't know what it is, but as time goes on, it seems to just get harder and harder. Maybe I'm getting old. I really don't know. Either that or the bubbles are just getting faster. So we're at the last couple turns here. I think I can KO the Canondramon on the next attack. And with the BP increase, thankfully I was able to hit the BP excellence all the way through. And so that just leaves me with one more attack for Canondramon, which should get me the game. And there you go. I was able to take game 2. And for the next game, my opponent is going to be bringing in a dual vaccine team. The Apollomon is going to be coming in with the SSR ability. That lowers my monster's HP by 15%. Stats for Apollomon, I believe we went over them earlier. And the Oriyomon is going to be coming in with the UR ability that raises its own BP by 30% if they get an excellent on the attack minigame. And the stats are as follows for Oriyomon: BP 6600, HP 5800, AP 1900. So I was able to go first on this battle here. I decided to lead with the Tiger Vespermon because might as well, since my opponent is rocking 2 vaccine monsters. Luckily on the first turn my opponent hit a really bad defense, which allowed me to do more damage than I normally would have done with the type disadvantage. And so I kind of got a little bit of a break there with the Tiger Vespermon. And so my plan is to kind of just do as much chip damage as I possibly could, use the W with Tiger Vespermon in the front, and then try to bait my opponent into using their W attack on my Tiger Vespermon so that Shakamon can come in and sweep the team. However, my plans did not work out. My opponent decided to W early. I had too much faith in Tiger Vespermon. I really thought that it was going to survive that with a perfect block, but its stats are just so low and it died right away. So my opponent stole my W, I don't have one, and now I just have to depend on Shakamon to finish out the game. So Shakamon was able to take down the Apollomon, and now it's just an arms race between the Oriyomon and the Shakamon. And so my opponent is going to be getting a huge buff to their AP, which is going to be tearing down this Shakamon. Even though we are on a neutral playing field, my opponent is basically beating me in damage because of that AP boost. Luckily I do have the BP boost, which is mitigating as much as possible, but I don't think that it's doing enough at this point. So yeah, just a couple turns more and Shakamon is going to die. I definitely could be doing a lot better on bubbles as well. I think I'm hitting anywhere from 25 to 30 this whole match. It really does make a difference when you get that extra 5% at the end of your bubbles. Luckily on this last turn here though, I was able to get a Guts, and that, I feel so sorry for my opponent. Sometimes I don't like getting Guts because it's kind of like unfair, but basically because of that I was able to get one more attack on the Oriyomon, and luckily we were able to take it down. And so based completely on luck, I was able to take that round. My opponent literally had me defeated at that last match there. And so I don't technically count it as a win because of the guts mechanic. A couple things that I wanted to talk about for this team here. I think Shacoman is a great monster. It's definitely a skill-based monster. You have to hit an excellent defense every time if you're going to be using that ability appropriately. The only thing that kind of sucks for this monster is the rule where the partner Digimon has to have 6,000 BP or less, and so you're left with very few options on this list here. Heavy Leomon, BP 3200. I do not recommend using Heavy Leomon. That BP is just way too low. It would die instantly in this matchup here, especially with something like Oriyamon with the 30% AP boost. Anything with an AP boost or life sap, it's pretty much just dead with 3200 BP. Your other option is Apollomon, which is a good option there, because not only are you doing 30% BP on the Shacoman, but you're also getting either minus 15% to the opponent's monsters, or you could use the UR ability to give the Apollomon plus 25% AP, and so you're kind of balancing out the team. You have Shacoman, which is the tank, and you also have Apollomon, which is the DPS. Also too, you are going double vaccine, and so you can choose accordingly based off of how you want to start, depending on what team the opponent is bringing into the matchup as well. So I think Apollomon is definitely a good option to run with Shacoman. You also have Raijinmon. I think Raijinmon probably not going to be useful with the UR ability, as most of the monsters in this format have higher than 5200 HP, but you could use it with the Sap Life and subtract 15% HP to the opponent if you did really want to run a virus monster with the Shacoman. You could also try running Shopmon X7 with the Sap Life, which I think is probably a better option than Raijinmon. However, it really depends again, so you have the option to choose a virus or data. I don't think Shopmon DX would be any better than using the Shopmon X7. Even though Shopmon does have 6,000 BP, you're getting a 2100 AP base stat on Shopmon X7. I guess it depends on your preference. If you want to counter any HP drains, then Shopmon X7. If you want to counter any AP boosts, then Shopmon DX with the 6,000 BP. And the other options here are Metal Seadramon. I don't think that's a great option as well. The UR Synchro needs to be a data type, and Shacoman is a vaccine type, so it doesn't really work in that format. You could try some of the other abilities, but again, I don't think Metal Seadramon is that good of an option. And then the other option you have here is going to be King Edamon. I think this is another great selection. If you wanted to kind of use King Edamon as bait in the back, you could just run the King Edamon with the SR burst ability to give the Shacoman an extra 10% AP. And not only are you boosting its defense, you're also boosting its attack. So Shacoman basically becomes a tank DPS, while King Edamon can tank any W attacks that you don't want Shacoman to eat in the front. And of course, obviously, Heracl Kabuterimon is another option with 5700 BP. I don't really think Double Guard is that good of an ability. I'm kind of sad that the UR ability on the Forest Guardians BEM is Double Guard. I kind of wanted it to be something else. It would have been a lot better. But if you want to run Heracl Kabuterimon, you could run it with the SR, and just giving your team an all-around defensive buff, kind of like the Double Data team that I did a video on last, which is basically like a tank team. So those are your options, and then obviously Tiger Vespamon as well, which I showcased in this video. And those are your options to run with Shacoman. I don't really like the team. It definitely has its weaknesses, Tiger Vespamon specifically. But again, if you're able to have the skill to get an excellent defense every time with Shacoman, then it might be worth it to run Shacoman with one of the monsters with 6,000 BP or less. And so yeah, that's my Yellow Thunder tournament team composition. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Let me know down in the comments below what kind of teams you're thinking about bringing to the tournament. And yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.